Happy Halloween! This will definitely go up after Halloween because today is Halloween. But I had this. Welcome to the very simple video in which I tell you the things I consumed last month. Media I consumed, not food. What if I just made a video just telling you about everything I ate? Just on October 1st, I had spinach and broccoli. That sounds terrible. Anyway, here's some media culture I consumed. Well, it's flu season, a great time to read Station 11, a book about a flu pandemic that kills everyone. Everyone, except like 4 people. A few more people than that survive. It sounds like a bummer, and in many ways it is, but it's also very much about survival and found family and what makes life worthwhile. And it's very much, it kind of makes you appreciate everything that you have. It's a really beautiful book. It is also not great for hypochondriacs. And I also just finished Where the Crawdads Sing, which is really beautiful. Where the Crawdads is described as at once an exquisite ode to the natural world, it very much is, a heartbreaking coming-of-age story, and a surprising tale of possible murder. That's true. It's a really beautiful book. It made me cry in many places, but it's ultimately not sad. It's very life-affirming. And it's full of nature and poetry and love and heartbreak and abandonment and survival, and it's lovely. And in the listening front, I discovered a new scripted podcast this month called The Passenger List, which is not for people with a fear of flying, but it's kind of like Lost, the show Lost, from the perspective of the people who don't know what happened to the plane. Like, we never really think in the world of Lost about the people, the friends and family who were left behind. And it's sort of that story. And Kelly Marie Tran from Star Wars is the main character, and she's trying to figure out what happened to a plane that disappeared over the Atlantic Ocean that her brother was on. And it's creepy, and it's got a fun mystery. And I don't know how many episodes it's going to be. It feels like we're coming to the end, but it's also the kind of story that like could go on for multiple seasons, and I'm curious to see what happens with it. I've also been listening to The Happiness Lab, a podcast about scientifically proven things that make us happier, like spending time with human beings. If you can believe it, that makes us happy. It's from a professor at Yale who has a really popular class about being happy and maybe like a TED Talk and stuff. You can probably find out more stuff about her. I'm not entirely sure if the podcast is the best way to disseminate this information because sometimes it feels a little rambly and like maybe we could just get to the thing that'll make me happier. But I am still listening to it and liking it. And another of my regular favorite podcasts, Science Versus, which is all about science, did a flu episode this month, which I happened to listen to right after I finished Station 11, which actually made me feel a little bit better because the kind of pandemic that literally kills everybody is very unlikely. But Science Versus is a very cool podcast to check out, and their flu episode is scripted, which is unlike anything they've ever done before. They kind of set up like a fictional possible flu and the fallout of that, and it's a fun episode. But the rest of it is really cool too. It examines questions that we have, and it often is not what I expect it's going to turn out to be once they get all the scientific evidence in. And if you'd like to put something more musical in your ears, I got the recommendation from many of you to check out Six the Musical, which is a rock musical of the 6 wives of Henry VIII. I just love that someone was like, you know what, I should write a rock musical about the 6 wives of Henry VIII battling in song for who had it worse. I mean, that's a fun concept, and it's a really fun musical. It's short. I think it's like a 1-act. But the soundtrack is just full of bops. And on the eyeballs front, Looking for Alaska on Hulu. Talk about things that'll make you cry. I read the book years ago, of course, like many of you, but it's a really great series. It's a really great adaptation, and it kind of expands the world so we get more than just Miles's perspective, and we really learn more about everyone, and everyone gets to be a very well-rounded character. And if you haven't read the book, you will cry, but it's worth it. I think it's a beautiful, well-told story, and the actor who plays the Colonel really nails it for me. I also really enjoyed Gary Gulman's stand-up special on HBO called The Great Depression. It's unlike any stand-up I've seen before. It's more of a one-man show about depression with some jokes, and it's a really unique piece that I recommend checking out. I think if you've ever dealt with depression, you'll relate to it, and if you have never dealt with depression, it might help you understand what that experience is like. Plus, there's jokes. Those are my recommendations for October. I literally did not watch a single movie this month. Are there movies I missed that I should see? Tell me below. Don't tell me to see The Joker. I'm not going to see it. Everyone's allowed to like what they like. You can like it. It's just not for me. If you check any of these things out and you like them, let me know. If there's stuff I should check out for my ears or my eyes, reading, listening, watching, let me know. Maybe I'll check it out. Thanks so much. Have a great November. It's truly fall, y'all. And many thanks to my patrons who make this possible. If you want to get in on the inside, check out my Patreon, where the secrets are. Bye!